What's going on, YouTube? Just wanted to make a video, talk for a bit. Um, in light of all that's going on around the world with this crazy coronavirus, I thought I would post a few videos since I'm going to be home. School's being canceled, my lessons are being canceled, all my gigs have been canceled. Everything, at least in my life, is basically on pause for the next 2 weeks, besides maybe a few things. So I thought I would take advantage of this and do a little plug. As some of you know, I am a music teacher, and I do actually teach online Skype and FaceTime lessons. So I wanted to just do a quick plug for that. If you are interested at all in developing your skills, I teach all brass and woodwind instruments, but I'm sure, as most people watching this, you probably play the trombone, as do I, and that obviously is my instrument that I'm most comfortable teaching with, but I do have lots of experience teaching, and I'm cool teaching anything from elementary to middle school to high school, even college level. And if you are maybe a hobbyist or you've been playing and it's a thing you do on the side and you want to hone in your skills, I'm very good at providing good solid fundamentals, and we can have a great time too. And I think it's really great with the technology that we have today to just be able to utilize that so that we can keep learning. And I just know around where I live, colleges and universities are being shut down. Like I said, schools are being shut down. Everything's going online. So I'd recommend really take advantage of this. So if you are interested in Skype or FaceTime lessons with myself, I'm going to attach below a form you can fill out if you're interested at all. First lesson's free, and I do provide discounts to students. So anyways, enough about that. I wanted to talk about my daily routine and what that kind of looks like on a monthly, weekly, daily basis kind of thing. Now, obviously, I've made some videos in the past on fundamentals and things of this nature, but I wanted to specifically go into this, especially for anyone that might be interested in studying online, kind of what we would be learning, and maybe if you can just take this with you and really be able to develop what your routine looks like. Now, obviously, I've heard some different opinions on this. I went to Southern California Trombone Day the other day, and I heard one master class where he said he changes his warm-up up. Then I heard another master class that said, hey, I've been doing the same routine for like 10 years. So I'm somewhere in the middle, but the things that I do are specific things. I believe it's about 10 things, and hopefully I'll be able to remember all of them, but I won't go into detail, obviously. If you want more detail, obviously we can do some lessons, and we can go into extreme detail on all of these things. But my routine is going to look something like this. It always starts with the warm-up. Warm-up is key with lots of things, especially the trombone. My warm-up will look something like some breathing exercises, some buzzing exercises, and some long tones. So that, in stretching. That's kind of the first layer right there. So you have the stretching, the breathing, the buzzing, and the long tones. And this could last very well a long time, or it can be shortened depending on how much you are playing throughout the week. So that's going to be my first chunk. Continuing with the warm-up after the long tones, I go into lip slur exercises. After the long tones, lip slur exercises, and then I go into articulation exercises. So my routine is basically you have the stretching, the buzzing, the breathing, the long tones, the lip slurs, and articulation exercises. That's pretty much what I do every day, as long as it's something revolved around that basis for the warm up. Now, a practice session is another thing. My practice sessions always start with a warm up. But after the articulation exercises, then I will play some sort of etude. For example, a Rochu etude, something like that. Something that is musical and melodious and kind of that you can use to practice all the basic things you worked on in your warm-up and apply them into making music in time with pitches as well. Speaking of, it looks like another one of my teaching gigs got canceled. Man, this coronavirus is everywhere. Anyways, so where was I? Etudes. So after I do etudes, oh, I'm so sorry. I swapped them. So I actually do scales first and then I do etudes. So with scales, you can get very detailed or you can make it very minimalistic. With all of these things, there's a spectrum to this. You can spend a lot of time working out certain details, or you can just maybe focus on a few things. Like maybe today I'm just going to do my major scales. Maybe today I'm going to focus on my minor scales. Maybe today I'm going to focus on my pentatonic scales. But I always do a certain thing like major scales. So I always have that foundation. Scales, then you go to the etudes. Talk about the etudes. After I do my etudes, let's see. Now for me, I double on a lot of instruments, but let's say large bore tenor trombone. That's kind of my medium. That's going to be in the middle of everything. After my etudes, then I'm going to go into classical, the classical realm. So this includes your excerpts or any major pieces you're working on. Maybe a trombone concerto. Maybe a trombone solo piece, something like that, that's going to be in the classical realm. So after the etudes, then I go into practicing more of an orchestral classical setting, maybe 2 to 3 things on that. Orchestral excerpt, trombone solo, trombone concerto, things of that nature. Then after that, I'm going to go into my jazz studies. Now, obviously, these can be all kinds of things, jazz etudes, maybe working on standards, maybe working on a big band piece, maybe working on your soloing. But after I do my classical, then I move forward to the jazz. So with the jazz, there's a lot of different things. At this point, I'll usually go to my small bore tenor trombone. I also do a lot of this on bass trombone as well. But for jazz, there's a lot of different things you can do under that aspect. Even with jazz, there's a certain practice routine I do with that. You have your jazz scales, you have jazz etudes, you have transcriptions you can work on, you have standards you can work on. So there's a lot of things in the jazz realm. So after all of those things, then I go to things such as things I'm working on in my freelance career, certain groups I'm playing. Then I work on things that are outside music, like bands I play in. For example, if you're in high school or college and you have groups you're playing in, if I were in your shoes, on a good practice routine day, doing all of these things I'm saying, after I do jazz, then I would go to things that are on the outside. And then after that, I usually try to sight read something every time I practice as well. So I'll just go through this list real quick. So you have the pre-long tones, the breathing, buzzing, stretching. You have the long, so this is the warm-up. Long tones, lip slurs, tonguing. So that's the warm-up. And then scales, etudes, classical jazz, and then you work on outside music you're working on, and then do some sight reading. So if any of that is of interest to you, that's the kind of routine that I would get you started on if you were to take lessons with myself. I have lots of experience teaching, and I'm very well educated, and I'm sure we can, like I said, we can have a great time too. So that's all I have to say. So that's my whole routine. Again, if you're interested in lessons, I will put a form you can fill out in the link in the description. Thank you guys so much. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Wash your hands, stay safe, and happy practicing.